The night was heavy with silence when Ethan Ward stirred awake to the shrill buzz of his phone. The glow of the screen revealed a voicemail waiting, its timestamp marked just minutes ago. He pressed play, his breath catching as a trembling voice whispered, "They know where you are." Static followed, filling the room with a broken hiss that felt alive. Ethan said, "What the hell is this?" His heart pounded, as if a cold hand pressed against his chest. Then, from outside, a piercing scream tore through the still night air, sharp enough to rattle the glass panes. He rushed to the window, searching frantically, but saw nothing but shadows bending across the street. His eyes darted down to the pavement where something impossible lay beneath the flickering streetlight, a rusted compass etched with glowing, unreadable symbols. Ethan muttered, "This can't be real." The world suddenly felt hostile, like unseen eyes were watching every move. Ethan's breath quickened as he slipped into his jacket, the chill of midnight pressing against his skin. The static still hissed faintly from his phone, but he shoved it in his pocket and stepped outside. The air was thick with damp fog, carrying a salt tang that made no sense this far inland. He whispered, "Why does it smell like the ocean?" His footsteps echoed as he approached the compass, its glow shifting from faint green to a sickly yellow. He crouched, reaching out but hesitated as if the object might bite. The street was empty, yet he swore something unseen moved just beyond his sight. A rustle in the shadows made his heart race. He said, "Hello, who's there?" But only silence answered deeper than the night itself. The compass pulsed once more, and a wave of dread pressed against his chest, heavy and cold. Ethan reached for the compass but stopped when he noticed faint scratches etched into the pavement, spiraling outward from where it lay. He muttered, "This wasn't here before." The markings shimmered faintly, as if alive. His fingers trembled as he brushed near them, but a sudden gust of wind forced him back. The fog thickened unnaturally, swirling like it carried whispers. Ethan spun around, his pulse hammering, but saw no one. From the shadows, a figure flickered into view for just a second, tall, cloaked, and unrecognizable. Ethan shouted, "Wait!" but the form dissolved into mist. He staggered, clutching his head, the siren call faintly humming in his ears for the first time, low and haunting, pulling him toward the object. The low hum built into a steady wail as Ethan stumbled backward, clutching his temples. He said, "Stop, stop." But the sound seeped deeper, vibrating his bones. Lights flickered in the houses nearby, but none turned on. He gasped for air, sweat dripping down his brow as if gravity itself pressed him into the ground. The compass rolled suddenly, spinning on its own, aligning to a direction pointing east, toward the dark horizon. Ethan froze, muttering, "It's leading me somewhere." He gripped the compass, the cold metal burning against his skin, the symbols glowing brighter until his knuckles whitened. He sensed the scream he heard earlier was not human, but a call. Something ancient beneath the surface had just found him. The night fell unnaturally silent again, leaving only Ethan's ragged breathing. He stood frozen in the street, compass clutched tightly. He whispered, "Why me?" His gaze lifted toward the east, where the glow of the city met the dark horizon. A faint rumble stirred beneath his feet, subtle but unmistakable, like something shifting under the ground. He stumbled back, his chest tight, and every instinct told him to run. Yet the compass pulled him forward, its glow synchronizing with his pulse. From the corner of his eye, he thought he saw the cloaked figure again, watching silently. He turned sharply, but the figure was gone. The street was empty, but the dread remained, wrapping him like chains. The call had begun, and there was no turning back. Ethan walked a deserted street with the compass clutched tightly in his hand, its glow guiding him like a beacon. His mind raced with questions, but the silence pressed down heavier than the fog. He muttered, "This isn't real. It can't be." The humming returned, faint at first, but steady, like a haunting melody woven into the night air. He froze as he noticed movement near the corner, a tall figure cloaked in shadow watching him from across the street. Ethan shouted, "Who are you?" but the figure did not respond. Instead, the compass pulsed brighter, pulling his hand toward the stranger. Fear battled curiosity inside him, each step dragging him closer until he could see only the gleam of hidden eyes beneath the hood. The figure raised a hand slowly, as if warning him back, but vanished into the mist before Ethan could move closer. He whispered, "What do you want from me?" Ethan hurried forward, his shoes splashing in shallow puddles as he searched the mist for the cloaked figure. The compass burned colder in his palm, its glow flickering erratically. He whispered, "Where did you go?" His eyes scanned the shadows, but no movement stirred. Then, from the silence, a voice spoke softly, carried by the fog. "Not here, not now." Ethan spun, his breath visible in the chilled air, but the figure remained unseen. Panic flared, yet curiosity kept him from retreating. He shouted, "Show yourself," but only silence answered. The compass vibrated in his hand, as if responding to the unseen voice. He swallowed hard, muttering, "You know what this is, don't you?" The humming grew louder, weaving with the fog, filling the street with an unnatural rhythm that pushed him further into the night. The humming grew sharper, echoing in Ethan's skull, until he stumbled against a brick wall. He leaned there gasping, his palms searing with the compass's glow. He muttered, "It's killing me." His eyes darted down an alley, where a faint light shimmered at the far end. Driven by desperation, he forced himself forward, each step echoing in the silence. He felt unseen eyes trailing him, the sensation prickling his skin. Suddenly a whisper broke the quiet, "Beware the deep." Ethan froze, searching frantically. He shouted, "Where are you?" His voice bounced against the walls, but no one answered. The compass steadied, its glow pointing toward the shimmering light, as if insisting he follow. Ethan clenched his jaw, whispering, "If this is a trap, I'm already in it." The alley seemed to breathe, the fog curling tighter around him. Ethan emerged into a clearing at the edge of an abandoned pier. The ocean stretched dark and endless before him, though he knew the shore was miles away. He muttered, "How is this even here?" Waves lapped faintly, though no wind stirred. At the end of the pier stood the cloaked figure, facing the water in silence. Ethan's stomach knotted as he stepped closer. He said, "Tell me what this is. What do you want?" The figure turned slowly, revealing only a glimpse of a stern mouth beneath the hood. In a low voice, the stranger said, "You were never meant to hear it." Ethan's eyes widened as the compass flared, its glow spilling into the fog. The pier groaned as though alive, and the ocean answered with a faint echo of the siren's call. The siren's call rose from the black water, low and haunting, wrapping around Ethan's chest like chains. He staggered, clutching the compass as its glow pulsed in rhythm with the sound. He said, "What is this doing to me?" The cloaked figure finally turned fully, voice steady but cryptic. "You should walk away while you still can." Ethan shouted, "No, tell me the truth." The figure paused, eyes glinting in the shadows, then replied, "The deep doesn't forgive, and it never forgets." Before Ethan could respond, the figure dissolved into mist, leaving him alone on the pier. The compass burned brighter, pointing directly toward the waves. Ethan whispered, "The ocean, it's calling me." The night pressed tighter, and the hum became a song too heavy to resist. Ethan returned to the street, his heart still hammering from the figure's warning. The compass pulled eastward, but his instincts screamed against following. He muttered, "This will destroy me." His mind flashed with images of the cloaked figure dissolving into mist, and the siren's hum gnawed at him. He walked past rows of abandoned houses, their windows dark and unwelcoming. The silence made every step echo like a drumbeat. Ethan whispered, "Why is this happening to me?" The compass glowed brighter with each question, as though mocking his fear. Then, suddenly, one of the doors creaked open, slow and deliberate. His pulse spiked as he froze. He said, "Who's there?" No voice replied, only the hollow groan of the house. A shadow shifted inside, barely visible, as though waiting for him to step in. Ethan's steps carried him to the half-open door, his breath uneven as he reached out to push it wider. Inside, the air smelled damp, thick with rot. His voice cracked as he muttered, "I shouldn't be here." The floorboards groaned beneath his weight as he stepped into the house, flashlight trembling in his grip. The compass pulled him deeper, its glow seeping into the shadows like spilled light. The wallpaper peeled in strips and furniture lay covered in sheets. Then a sudden sound broke the silence. A whisper carried across the room. Ethan froze, whispering, "Hello?" The reply came sharp, "Leave." His chest tightened, and his flashlight beam shook across the peeling walls, but no one appeared. The compass burned cold in his palm, demanding he keep going, no matter the danger waiting in the dark. Ethan followed the glow of the compass into a hallway where old photographs lined the walls. He paused, shining his light across faces blurred by age and water damage. A shiver ran down his spine as he realized the eyes seemed scratched out deliberately. He whispered, "Who would do this?" The compass pulsed again, dragging him toward the last door at the end of the hall. His legs felt heavy, as though the air thickened around him. He pushed the door slowly, revealing a room covered in seaweed clinging to the floorboards. Ethan staggered back, muttering, "This is impossible." A voice rose behind him, deep and resonant, "The sea remembers." He spun quickly, but the hallway was empty, photographs swaying slightly on the walls as though disturbed by unseen hands. Ethan stepped into the seaweed-covered room, the stench of salt water overwhelming him. His shoes squelched with every step. The compass glowed bright white, illuminating a desk in the corner. On it rested a leather-bound journal, edges warped with damp. Ethan muttered, "What is this place?" He reached out, fingers trembling as he flipped the cover. Scrawled notes filled the pages, diagrams of waves and strange symbols matching those etched into the compass. His chest tightened as he whispered, "It's the same. They knew." Then a sudden bang upstairs made him jump, the journal slipping from his hands. Ethan grabbed it quickly, panic rising as the floor above creaked like heavy footsteps. He muttered, "I'm not alone in here." The footsteps grew louder, pressing down from the upper floor. Ethan clutched the journal tight against his chest, backing toward the door. His voice cracked as he whispered, "Who's up there?" The silence answered only with groaning beams. Suddenly, a shadow slipped across the ceiling, stretching unnaturally. Ethan froze in place, his breath sharp. The compass vibrated violently, and the siren's hum grew clearer, filling the room like a voice calling from underwater. He muttered, "It's in the house." Fear took hold, and he bolted into the hallway, the journal clutched tightly, compass lighting his way. Behind him, a single word echoed from the dark above, a chilling whisper, "Soon." The house trembled faintly, as though the sea itself pressed against its walls. Ethan staggered into the night air, clutching the journal, his lungs burning as though the house had stolen his breath. The compass glowed hotter, its symbols shifting like liquid fire. He muttered, "It's alive." He followed the pull down a deserted road until a familiar voice stopped him cold. From the shadows emerged Detective Marcus Hale, a man Ethan knew from the city, once considered trustworthy. Marcus said, "You shouldn't be here, Ethan." Relief mixed with suspicion as Ethan replied, "You know about this?" The detective's face remained hard, eyes refusing to meet his. Marcus whispered, "Some truths aren't meant for you." Ethan's grip tightened on the journal, realizing Marcus's presence here wasn't a coincidence, but a trap. Ethan's chest tightened as he confronted Marcus, who stepped closer with slow, deliberate strides. Ethan said, "You've known all along, haven't you?" Marcus sighed, voice low, "I tried to keep you away from this. The deeper you go, the less chance you have of coming back." Ethan shook his head, whispering, "Then why am I the one hearing it?" Marcus's jaw tightened, his eyes darting to the compass. He muttered, "Because you were chosen, same as the others." Ethan froze, heart sinking at the implication. He said, "Others? What happened to them?" Marcus turned away, the silence heavier than his words, leaving Ethan with only the sound of the siren thrumming through the night. The air thickened with dread as Marcus finally met Ethan's gaze. His voice hardened. You don't understand the cost. Every one of them vanished, consumed by what lies beneath. Ethan stepped forward, anger sharpening his tone. And you kept this from me? Marcus's hands trembled before he clenched them into fists. He said, I tried to protect you, but you wouldn't let it go. Ethan felt the weight of betrayal crushing his chest. The compass pulsed violently, pulling toward Marcus as if recognizing him. Ethan whispered, You've been part of this all along. Marcus's silence spoke louder than words, confirming what Ethan feared most. The trust he once held, shattered, leaving only fear and fury. Ethan's hand shook as he raised the journal like a shield. If you wanted to protect me, you wouldn't be here now, he spat. Marcus's eyes flickered with pain before he admitted, The curse binds us both. I was the one who found the first compass. Ethan froze, words caught in his throat. Marcus continued, It doesn't let go, Ethan. It only drags you deeper. The siren's call swelled, louder than before, resonating between them like a living presence. Ethan muttered, So you're already damned. Marcus's expression hardened, whispering, And now so are you. The fog thickened, pressing them into silence, as though the sea itself listened from afar. Ethan's breath trembled as the weight of Marcus's words crushed him. The compass in his hand flared bright, casting long shadows across the street. Marcus whispered, You can't fight it. But Ethan stepped closer, defiance burning in his eyes. He said, Then I'll end it. The air grew colder, the siren's call deepening into a rumble from below the ground. Suddenly, the journal in Ethan's hand pulsed as if alive, its pages fluttering without wind. Ethan shouted, What have you dragged me into? Marcus's expression broke, sorrow flickering as he said, The truth. A crack echoed through the pavement, and the fog swirled upward like a living storm. Ethan realized the curse wasn't waiting. It had already begun. Ethan followed the compass through the fog until the street ended at a crumbling seawall. His breath caught as the ocean stretched out before him, waves black under the moonlight. He muttered, This shouldn't be here. Marcus remained silent behind him, eyes fixed on the horizon. Ethan stepped forward, the compass glowing so brightly it reflected off the water. He whispered, It's pulling me under. Marcus said, The city is below. Ethan turned sharply, fury in his voice, You knew all along. Marcus nodded grimly, shadows in his expression. The hum of the siren rose into a song that rattled Ethan's bones. The water's surface rippled unnaturally, forming faint symbols like those etched into the compass. Ethan shivered, realizing the sea itself was alive. The compass burned cold against Ethan's palm, vibrating with each pulse of the siren's song. He whispered, It wants me in the water. Marcus's jaw clenched as he muttered, Once you hear it, there's no escape. Ethan stared at him in disbelief. You expect me to drown myself? Marcus stepped closer, lowering his voice. It won't kill you. It will take you. Ethan staggered back, eyes wide. The waves surged suddenly, spraying mist that clung like icy fingers. Ethan shouted, No, I'm not going down there. The compass flared brighter, resisting his grip. Marcus's eyes softened with pity. You don't have a choice. It chose you. The ocean groaned like something vast shifting beneath, and Ethan felt the ground tremble under his feet. Ethan's breath quickened as the journal pulsed against his chest. He opened it frantically, pages glowing faintly under the compass light. Sketches revealed a sprawling city beneath waves, towers swallowed by coral and ruin. Ethan muttered, It's real? It's all real. Marcus said, Those who wrote that never returned. Ethan stared at the drawings, trembling. Then why leave this for me? Marcus's face twisted with guilt. Because you're already part of it. Suddenly, the ground cracked along the seawall, water surging up through fissures. The song intensified, echoing in Ethan's head, pulling him toward the water. He shouted, I won't let it control me. Yet his feet slid forward as though dragged by unseen hands. Ethan staggered as the water surged higher, waves slamming against the seawall. The compass jerked from his grip, hovering briefly before dropping into the ocean. Ethan cried out, "No!" Marcus reached for him, shouting, "It's begun!" Ethan stumbled toward the edge, the journal pressed tight to his chest. Beneath the waves, faint lights glowed, forming the outlines of structures deep below. Ethan's voice broke, "The city." The siren song grew piercing, vibrating through his skull until his vision blurred. Marcus grabbed his arm, desperate. "If you follow, you'll never come back." Ethan's eyes burned with defiance. "Then, I'll know the truth." The waves pulled harder, dragging at his legs as the city below shimmered brighter. The ocean roared like a living beast as Ethan tore free from Marcus's grip. He shouted, "I have to see it!" before leaping into the churning water. Marcus screamed after him, "It will consume you?" But Ethan vanished beneath the waves. The cold hit him like knives, and the song filled his lungs as though it had weight. He sank deeper, eyes wide as faint ruins emerged below, arches of stone, toppled towers, statues covered in coral. The compass floated just ahead, glowing brighter, guiding him downward. Ethan reached for it, breath burning, the journal slipping from his grasp. The last thing he saw before darkness closed in was a colossal shadow moving through the ruins. The city was awake. Ethan sank deeper into the black water, lungs screaming for air, yet the song filled him like oxygen. He whispered into the void, "I can hear you." The ruins stretched vast beneath him, towers broken, statues toppled, all shrouded in coral. The compass drifted ahead, guiding him toward a massive temple at the city's center. Its gates glowed faintly with symbols that pulsed in rhythm with the siren's voice. Suddenly, a shadow moved beside him. Marcus appeared, swimming with unnatural ease, eyes burning in the dark. Ethan gasped, bubbles escaping his mouth. "You followed me?" Marcus's voice echoed in his mind, not his ears. "I was already here long before you." Ethan's heart pounded, realizing Marcus was bound deeper to the curse than he ever imagined. Ethan kicked furiously, following the compass toward the glowing temple gates. Marcus moved alongside him with unnatural calm. Ethan's thoughts screamed, "Why aren't you drowning?" Marcus's reply vibrated inside his skull. "The sea already owns me." Ethan's pulse quickened, panic gnawing at his ribs. The gates loomed larger, symbols swirling like waves made of fire. He shouted through the water, "This ends tonight." The song intensified, shaking the ruins, and the statue's empty eyes seemed to watch them. Marcus grabbed Ethan's arm, voice cold, "You were never meant to escape." Ethan ripped free, compass blazing so bright it burned his skin. He muttered, "Then, I'll burn with it." The temple doors shuddered, beginning to open as a low roar filled the deep. The temple doors parted, revealing a vast chamber within, filled with columns, wrapped in seaweed and light, filtering down like liquid fire. At its center floated a colossal statue of a woman, her face cracked, her mouth open in silent song. Ethan's chest tightened, realizing this was the siren. He whispered, "She's real." Marcus's voice thundered in his skull, "She is eternal." The compass pulled free of Ethan's grip, spinning toward the statue. Ethan shouted, "No!" His voice drowned in bubbles. Marcus reached for it, but the siren's song grew so powerful that the entire chamber shook. Ethan lunged forward, his hands outstretched, the weight of destiny crushing him. The statue's eyes flickered with a faint blue flame, staring into his soul. Ethan's body trembled as the statue's eyes locked onto him. The song grew unbearable, vibrating every bone in his frame. He screamed underwater, "Stop!" but the sound died in the current. Marcus drifted closer, his face twisted with pain. "She chooses who survives," he said. The compass hovered between them, glowing like a heart torn from its chest. Ethan reached for it, shouting through clenched teeth, "Then shall choose me." Marcus's hand shot out, clamping Ethan's wrist. Their eyes met, fury and desperation colliding in silence. The statue's gaze flared and a shockwave ripped through the chamber, sending debris tumbling. Ethan and Marcus spun violently, locked together, their fight lost in the storm of the Siren's awakening. The chamber quaked as cracks split across the statue, releasing streams of blinding light. The Siren's song turned into a roar that shattered the silence of the deep. Ethan shouted in his mind, "I won't let it take me." Marcus snarled, "You already belong to it." Their bodies collided violently, tumbling into a swirl of broken stone and light. The compass spun free, hovering above them like a star. Ethan reached desperately, his chest burning, while Marcus clawed for it with eyes full of madness. The statue's arms began to move, stone grinding as though awakening. Ethan's vision blurred, but his determination burned brighter than the abyss. He whispered into the water, "I'll end this, or it'll end me." The light from the cracked statue burst outward, flooding the chamber in blinding brilliance. Ethan shielded his eyes, lungs burning as his body threatened to give out. He whispered, "Not like this." Marcus drifted closer, face twisted with fury. "You can't fight her," he snarled, his voice echoing like thunder in Ethan's skull. The compass hovered between them, glowing brighter than ever. Ethan reached out, desperate, shouting in his mind, "I want surrender." The statue's arm cracked free, stone fingers reaching for the compass. A roar echoed through the ruins as the city trembled violently. Ethan's vision blurred, his body tearing between fight and surrender. He knew this moment would decide whether he lived or became another lost soul of the deep. The compass shot downward into Ethan's chest, fusing with his heartbeat. His scream echoed in the water as symbols flared across his skin. He muttered, "It's inside me." Marcus's expression turned to horror as he whispered, "No, not you." The statue's eyes dimmed, the chamber falling into eerie silence. Ethan floated, glowing faintly, the siren's song pouring from his body instead of the ruins. He gasped, "I can hear everything." Visions flooded his mind. Endless oceans, drowned cities, voices of those who came before. Marcus swam forward, desperation twisting his face. "Give it to me," he demanded. Ethan shook his head, whispering, "It's too late, I'm already hers." The temple quaked again, stones collapsing as the ocean claimed it piece by piece. Ethan drifted in the ruins as the song poured from his chest, vibrating through the water. He whispered, "She's in me now." Marcus circled, voice sharp with envy. "It should have been me. I carried this curse for years." Ethan's face twisted with sorrow. "You wanted power. I never wanted any of this." The statue crumbled completely, its remains scattering like dust into the ocean. The city's towers shook, collapsing one by one. Marcus's face contorted with rage. "If I can't have it, neither will you." He lunged forward, tackling Ethan. Their bodies collided, spinning into the collapsing ruins, locked in struggle. Ethan gasped, "You'll doom us both." Marcus sneered, "Then so be it." The ocean swallowed their voices. Debris rained down as Ethan and Marcus fought in the swirling chaos. Ethan screamed, "Let go!" Marcus's face twisted, spitting, "You don't deserve her." Ethan's vision darkened, the weight of the ocean pressing harder as rubble pinned his arm. He gasped, "It's killing us." The siren's voice spoke directly through him, calm and ancient. "One must remain." Ethan's eyes widened, realizing the curse demanded sacrifice. He turned to Marcus, sorrow flickering across his face. "It's you or me." Marcus' snarl faded into fear as he muttered, "No, not me." Ethan summoned all his strength, glowing brighter until the ruins cracked further. The sea itself groaned, the decision tearing his soul apart. The final choice hovered between survival and damnation. The ruins gave way to silence as a blinding light consumed the chamber. Ethan drifted alone, Marcus gone, his body swallowed by the abyss. Ethan whispered, "It chose me." The siren's song quieted into a soft hum that pulsed in his chest. He floated upward, breaking the surface beneath a starless sky. Gasping for air, He clutched his chest where the compass now rested beneath his skin. The shoreline loomed ahead, empty and lifeless. He whispered, "It isn't over." Behind him, the waves shifted unnaturally, forming faint, glowing symbols across the surface. Ethan's eyes filled with dread as he staggered onto the beach. The ocean whispered his name softly, endlessly. The curse had passed to him, and the call of the deep would never fade.